So we've almost completed what I'm going to label phase 1 of this collection project. In phase 1 we're going to develop the spawn island, build ourselves a sustainable way to get some of the basics like food, rockets and iron, and create an awesome looking place to come back to in our world in the future. Phase 2 is really a planning phase. We'll build a massive collection hub, laying out every block in the game, doubling as a storage system, and a place which marks the coordinates where you'll find all the farms and items in the world. And phase 3 is building and farming all of those different items, both in the overworld and in other dimensions. And today we're going to aim for the completion of phase 1, at least as close as we can get. So we built a sugarcane farm here for paper last episode. It's not the biggest sugarcane farm, but it's going to be perfectly fine to give us enough paper to get our rockets. We also built a temporary mob farm over there, which should give us the gunpowder. So that means the first item in phase 1 is complete. Of course, we also have our iron farm built here. This has been built for quite a while by now. And this also marks another item in phase 1 completed. The last item is food, which these villagers are kindly farming for us. But there is still one more requirement before we can consider phase 1 completed. We have to finish the starter island. Alright, so let's talk strategy a little bit. How are we going to go about pulling this off? So there's a few key additions that I want to add to our starting island to consider it complete. We are currently missing somewhere for enchanting, so I would really like to put an enchanting tower on the end here. The main entrance, which I mentioned in episode 2, or maybe episode 1. Some sort of a warehouse for bulk storage of things like cobblestone and stone, which will go around here. A docks area. A storage room, which is going to sit next to our villager breeder and iron farm. And we have to do some terraforming all the way around the island, because some of this is looking a little bit rough around the edges. And you know what? I'm actually just realizing how big of a challenge this is going to be this episode. You think we can get it done? Let's start with our storage room actually, because storage we have quickly outgrown here. Yeah, things are almost ending up a mess. A lot of it is sorted, but we're kind of running out of space. We're going to accumulate many more items. Yeah, this is not what we want to see right here. Storage room is done. Almost. Yeah, so it took about 3 hours to assemble. There is one decision we have to make here actually though. Do we put the stairs for the second floor on the outside like this? Or do we have them inside? Or maybe both. Having the stairs on the outside means it can free up more floor space on the inside. And we have more space for storage here. This thing actually is quite small despite its appearances on the outside. Yeah, I guess I'll have a think about that, but in the meantime we have to move all of our items into here. And that's not really going to be any small task either. We've accumulated quite a bit, especially in some of the bulk storage things down here. At least we have a few shulker boxes. We definitely need to grab some more of those things though. In fact, I'm not even sure we have any empty ones. Oh yeah, little did I know I would spend almost as much time sorting all this stuff as I did building the actual storage system. But yeah, first of all I had to finalise the layout on the chests and barrels inside the storage room. Then once I got a layout I was more or less happy with, this is where the pain began, and we have to sort everything. I tried not to overthink it too much though. We'll be fully automating this process in phase 2. This is really just meant as an intermediate storage system. More of a stepping stone to get us to ultimately where we want to be. Throughout the moving process I harvested the wheat field a bunch of times, and that allows us to breed the cattle, get some more leather and craft item frames. And the item frames we'll use on the chests and barrels to mark which item they are stored. Alright, awesome. We got everything moved over and sorted into their proper place. And we have some empty chest spaces, but that's okay. That means we can grow into this space. I'm not entirely sure what we put up here, probably just more storage. I ended up deciding to keep the stairs on the outside as well as the inside. It's quite convenient to be able to come up to the second floor, although we have to convert this from the window into a proper doorway. So in case you haven't noticed already, I want this to be a bit more of a fast-paced episode. There is a lot I'd like to get done today. And the next one being the warehouse for bulk storage. We have some chests over here at the wool farm excavation site, pretty much full of cobblestone. And I have a bit of a layout here. Oh, fly. That was nearly a splat. Yeah, I've been designing a bit of a layout here for the mine entrance, which is going to be connected to the warehouse. The only thing is, after taking stock of all of our items in here, we really don't have all that much wood left. There's a couple of shulker boxes that I've been using for building, and these are also more or less empty. So we gotta repair the axe first. Tools are not looking in the best shape. And since this island has way less space to chop trees, I've picked out another spot this way. It's about 500 or 600 blocks away, but yeah, there's a bunch of oak wood. I'm going to use this for tree chopping. And as you can see, this isn't our first time here, and probably won't be our last either. So once we had around half a shulker box worth of each wood type, before we get to building, I'm going to grab this beacon. We'll come over here to minus 147,161, which unfortunately is in the ocean. Dig all the way down to bedrock, or close to it. You see, we are also in need of some deep slate, and not just a little bit either. And that is not good for building. We use a lot of this stuff. I'm hoping we hit our mine here anytime now. Yep, there we go. Alright, so beacon goes here. It's really unfortunate that you don't get insta-mine even with haste 2. Although we are missing efficiency 5 on this fortune pick. I don't want to use silk touch since I want the cobbled version of deep slate. But yeah, time to dig a hole. I think I'll do this in smaller batches though, since we're really only gathering this for building. There's no need to grab this all at once. Oh no! Oh, I wasn't paying attention enough, I just snapped the fortune pick. Well, at least we got enough diamonds here to replace it. The only thing is levels, so I'll probably spend a little bit of time in the skeleton spawner. We have to repair the rest of our tools anyway, so yeah. And so after a restock on building blocks, our tools replaced, and a rough idea of how I want this to be laid out, I began working on our warehouse. So the first iteration of this went pretty well. I think the shape was mostly correct, and I went for this brick, terracotta and granite look, which I think is pretty cool. We might use this elsewhere, but I didn't really think it worked for this specific application. I tried a few different texture changes, but ultimately I thought we would use something else for this particular build. So the second time around, it switched to a much more of a small building on the left there. And instead of a big log pillar on a way oversized base, it switched to a much more appropriately sized building. And I tried to use some of the same materials that we're using elsewhere on the island, just trying to keep everything cohesive. Although I think there's still work to be done on that front. And the third iteration I think came out the best. We also went with this triple roof design, which are not quite aligned with each other, but I think that makes it a bit more interesting to look at. And walking around here definitely captures the feeling that I was going for. So this is the entrance, or going to be the entrance down to our existing mines. There is of course some interior work here that has to be done, but then we also have this leading upstairs, and this goes across a walkway which you can actually walk underneath. I want the path to extend all the way over to our enchanting setup, which is going to be on the peninsula over there. And then down here is where our warehouse is going to be. I want to have these big arches here, and I think we'll probably lower this ground a few levels. Probably keep it in line with this path here, and that'll also give us some more clearance above this little walkway area. And I think we'll probably texture out this floor to make it more cobbled. But you know, it's all trial and error. And there's still some refining to be done, right? But yeah, first of all, let's build this structure here. This one I found to be a lot easier to build actually, and still there's some insistence in me that wants to use this brick somewhere. So I tried it out here again, and I think it actually works this time. So we're going to keep it in place here. Let me know what you guys think about this. But yeah, I've done some more polishing and terraforming around the outside, and I think we now have ourselves an awesome new mine entrance and warehouse. So yeah, let me show you around the inside of this place. I got some of the paths hooked up here, and in fact I started populating this with some chests, although it's a little bit too small to be properly functional to hold all of our bulk storage. We probably could have done with extending this out a few more blocks, which honestly I might still do, but since it's too small, I decided to build this little thing down here. And we're going to just basically pile as many chests as we can in here, and we can expand it this way if we need to, or even down is also another option. We're going to store things like the stone, cobblestone, dirt, sand, gravel, all that kind of stuff. And we'll just expand that as we need to. This side is more just for aesthetics on the upstairs here. And you know, I think it turned out pretty well. We got a little connection over here, which joins to the walkway we saw earlier on. And we just have another little exit out this way, which also connects up to the path down here next to the brewing area. So I think we're going to call that good for this build for the moment. Next thing I want to do is tackle the island outline terraforming. And here, to be perfectly honest, I have no idea what I was doing. So I wanted to start by connecting the two bodies of water underneath the bridge. Just by digging out a bit more space and flooding the area. However, at some point during this process, we were out of rockets. Almost out of rockets. And the mob farm that we built last episode really wasn't working too well. So I wanted to expand that thing, which meant more scaffolding. And to craft scaffolding, we needed string. And the pattern for expansion is just the scaffolding, observer, dispenser with water in. Although make sure you place the water after you fill in the platform. Otherwise you end up with a bit of a mess. And even just from the expansion, we had almost a stack of gunpowder, which was plenty to keep us going. So getting back into the terraforming, I wanted to create a bit more of a stone base around the island. I also mixed in some moss, cobblestone, dirt, grass, and sand, just to mix up a bit of the colour. I tried to create little overhangs in the stone, just to add some depth into the cliff face. It's quite easy looking back at it to spot all the mistakes, but when you're in first person and doing all this, it's extremely tedious. Yeah, this is definitely not easy, not as easy as I expected. It's probably going to involve a second or third pass over this, just to make sure that it's all the way we want it. And the shovel's about to break as well, that doesn't help our situation. So was all of that terraforming actually worth it? Did it actually do anything to this island? You know, I'm starting to think it actually didn't do that much. Well, we'll definitely have to do the second and third pass, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, it does look quite different to the way it looked before, but it's still missing something. It's definitely still missing something. Perhaps something we can fix on livestream. Yeah, I even got all the way over here next to the bridge. I did forget to move these chests though. We really should do that down to our new storage system. Yeah, I guess this side here can be for the cobblestone. And I don't think I'll mark these chests. We don't really need to have the item frames on, since it'll reduce a bit of lag. That is playing with fire right there. I'll take the gunpowder though. We'll also have to try to get our hands on some honey, so that we can stop this aging process of the copper. I think I would prefer it the bronze colour. And we do actually have a beehive. Somehow it spawned on a tree that I was growing. Well, I was farming trees earlier on. You know what, this idea actually has me thinking. Maybe instead of the dock area, which wouldn't really serve an immediate purpose for us, we could instead replace the space with a bee farm. However, I did just notice a quick issue here at our sugarcane farm. There seems to be a bit of an item blockage here at the hoppers. What's basically happening is the items are getting stuck right here whenever this hopper fills up. Because this block here is pushing into the glass, it doesn't actually filter to each one of these sides here and distribute amongst the rest of the chests. So I think the easiest way to fix that is to move all the chests and hoppers forward a block. Make sure we don't have any spillages out here. Then we can just have the input hopper go into a loop. I think this is probably the easiest way to do it without redesigning the whole room. So we just have to make sure the water goes here. Like that. And that should avoid the situation where only one column gets filled with sugarcane. I think we actually avoided quite a bit there. Take me quite a while to notice. So yeah, the bee farm will let us fill up this pretty large space that's actually emerged after we've done all the terraforming. But we are going to need some bees to actually farm them. Apparently, the chance for an oak or a birch tree within 2 blocks of flower at the same Y level has a 5% chance to yield a beehive. Oh wow, look at that. First time, and if we use Silk Touch, I think because there's 2 NBT tags, there should be 2 bees in there. I'm pretty sure that that's how it works. Now we gotta just roll the 5% chance, enough times to get enough bees. Wow, second time. I didn't even cut there. Wow, this is great. I went over to the nearby flower forest just to see if we could get any extra luck with the naturally generating ones. Alright, yeah, that should be enough bees and flowers. Let's head back and start to think about how we're going to design this thing. So I've set up this little temporary pen just so that we could get some of these guys to breed. We are also going to have to get some flowers for them to pollinate, so they can regenerate their honey inside the nest. And I think the best thing to use for us is flowering azalea leaves. Oh look, there's some more bees. Yoink. I should probably let them go home first. Come with me. No? You flying away? Ah yes, azalea leaves. I knew I remember seeing them in the desert biome. The great thing about these is the bees can't pass through them, unlike something like a traditional flower. And that means we can make the farm a little bit more compact. I think so anyway. So I decided this time to go with a bit of an outdoor farm, but I think we got it all wired up in the back so that we can integrate the bees into this thing now. We got some redstone back here to collect the drops. For now we're going to be farming the honeycomb, but we can also farm honey bottles from this. Alright, we've got little bees in here now. You know what, actually a lead would probably help us out. Where would I have placed those? It's still taking me a while to get used to it. Yeah, here they are. So these bee hives and bee nests, as far as I'm aware, are interchangeable. You can use either or, they function the same way. And we have the flowering azaleas below so that the bees can pollinate, and when they do that, multiple times per day, they return to the nest and fill it with honey. At which point there'll be a dispenser filled with shears, which will shear it, drop the honeycomb, and the rail underneath will pick up the drops. And to trigger the dispenser, which is above the bee nest, we just have a comparator signal. Once it gets enough signal strength, i.e. enough honey in the nest, it will trigger the dispenser. At least that's the plan, and we got a few on diagonals. I think the redstone should be just fine with those. Alright, let's extend the glass wall out a few blocks actually. That way we can put a door on temporarily just to get all the bees in here. And they will return to their nests at night or when it's raining. Alright bees. I hope this isn't a mistake. Let's go. I know we probably could have transported them in their nests, but I'm too impatient for that. Oh, and these guys are coming out now as well. This is way too... Oh, they're getting stuck on the door. Okay, so we can have 3 per hive, and there is 5 hives. Maybe we just start with a few in here, though, and we'll just breed them to get enough population. Alright, that should be enough. You guys stay in there. You guys can come in the middle one. Yep, as long as we get 2. As long as we get 2. Should be fine. Oh, I escaped. Where are you going? Come on, just a little bit further. Alright, 1 more to fill. These guys, for some reason, can't pathfind through glass, though. And this guy wants out. Oh, of course it starts raining now. Perfect timing. Yes. This guy still wants out. Should remember to also replace the blocks behind the leaves. I mean, not that it really matters, but you can kind of see them, right? So we should make sure these are at least some spruce wood. Something a bit nicer than stone or dirt. Oh my goodness, these bees are such a nightmare to work with. I'm stuck. Alright. I think we got the population to where we want it. These guys on the right still need a few more though. So I filled all the dispensers with shears, besides this very last one on the end, which has bottles inside. And of course, when the dispenser harvests with bottles, we get the honey bottles. And with these, we can craft honey blocks, which are really useful for redstone projects. So for those, we'll probably increase the bottle count, but we don't have too much glass right now. And last thing we need to do is add in some lighting up here. I'm thinking maybe we can use end rods. I don't know, how does that look? Maybe a little bit out of place. Yeah, it's looking not bad, but it's still missing something in the middle here. Maybe some extra trees around would help the situation as well. I think we'll actually probably just go for some glowstone, maybe underneath these logs here, since it should shine through the leaves and then through the glass. Yeah, let me know about any suggestions we should fill this space with. So with the completion of the bee farm, that leaves our enchanting setup. So a quick repair on the tools, and a cleanup of the previous project. I also wanted to grab some moss for this. Grabbing all manually isn't the most efficient thing, or the safest, but we can grab enough in a short space of time. I've been designing the dimensions and proportions for this thing in a creative world. I think that's probably going to be the most important thing to get right. Although the material choice I picked there wasn't the best, so we're going to kind of wing it with a different choice here, and hope everything works out. We're going to try and texture in some cobblestone, some tough stone brick, and a little bit of moss in there as well. Maybe we also throw in some stone. Yeah, sure. Yeah, not bad. I'm trying to make it look like the moss is creeping up the walls. And I also want to try to make the more noisy textures appear at the bottom, and the smoother things like the stone and the stone brick near the top of this. And maybe introduce some mossy cobblestone as well in here, especially next to these moss blocks. Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah. Alright, at this point we want some sort of a trim around the outside. We don't want just a straight tower going all the way up. Not like that. Since we want everything in this island to sort of tie in with each other, I think we're also going to try to incorporate some of this calcite and diorite into this build. And what if we also try to transition it into some white concrete? That could be pretty cool. From the diorite into the polished version, into calcite, into white concrete. We do need some bones for that though. There should be plenty at the mob farm by now. Enough. This doesn't work in the rain, does it? No. That'd be pretty cool if it did actually. I guess we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Oh no, only a stack of calcite left. Oh, that's not going to be enough. No way that's going to be enough. After building up the tower, I wanted to pick a different material for the towers in the corners. I tried both the regular oak and dark oak. I quite like the contrast on our brewing tower with the dark oak and the calcite. So I decided to go for that instead, and then it was just a matter of putting the roof on. Alright, so I've been building on this thing for hours. I did not think this tower would take this long. But yeah, what do we think? I'm quite liking it, other than the fact that I maybe would have made the white section a little bit taller than it is. But yeah, other than that, look at this thing on the corner of our island. Oh, this looks so awesome. I also changed up the towers on the corners there. I kept the dark oak highlights, but I wanted to change the walls out for spruce wood, stripped spruce. I also added in some windows on the sides, and experimented with magenta glass. But I don't think the magenta works quite as well as the clear glass that we now have here. But yeah, on the inside here, I'm not really sure what to put on this ground floor. We don't really have much right now. But then it's just a massive staircase all the way up to our enchanting setup. Did we have to build a tower this big? Absolutely not. But yeah, I decided to go for a floating enchanting setup. This is a bit of an interesting concept here. Wait, the Wandering Trader. Why can't I hear the Wandering Trader? He spawned right there. Alright. Where's your llamas? He doesn't know. He's as confused as I am right now. Anyways, yeah, the top floor, we got the enchanting setup suspended by these chains. I think this actually creates a really cool atmosphere up here. Gives us some more floor space, of course, as well. And this does give us level 30, by the way. I did test this out. I think we've just got enough bookshelves to get to level 30. We'll keep these books in here, I guess. Oh wait, I heard the llamas. Oh, they're here. Anyways, we gotta connect the paths up. I'm actually not sure I want to connect the paths up. Maybe we have some sort of a different path leading to this thing. Yeah, I tried to blend it into the cliff face here. But now we've created a lot of space on this section here. We need to fill this up with something. And in fact, there's quite a lot of areas around the island that need just these little spaces that need filled. Yeah, like there's another one back here. Definitely some space in the middle here next to our farms. We need to fill this with something. And out here in front of the storage room as well. We need to put something here. But all of those will be projects for another day. I think we got quite a lot done in the development of our island. We got our bee farm in place. We have a brand new storage room. I'm starting to get used to where everything is in here. We built out the entrance to the mine and added in a warehouse. The bulk storage is going to be very useful there in the future. We terraformed around the island, and we of course have the Enchanting Tower now. The bees have been very busy here and produced us a lot of honeycomb. And one of the reasons we wanted the honey was to reverse the aging process on this thing. I think we can just wax it with this. Perfect. That's kind of a disgusting sound, right? There we go, it's all shiny and new. Nice, I like it. Anyways guys, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.